Can you hear me? It's Friday, October 14th. How are you this morning, JR?
I'm fantastic, man. I definitely woke up on the right side of the bed this morning. Early bird gets the worm, so I'm ready to talk some sports, man.
Yeah, for those people beyond the 5 normal viewers that we have, which are both of our mothers and some other relatives, can you tell people what Friday traditionally is here at the Sports Report?
Aloha, man. It is Aloha Friday. If you don't know, Aloha Friday, I went to the University of Hawaii, and in Hawaii, every Friday, doesn't matter if you're a doctor, a lawyer, a businessman, you are showing up to work in your nicest Aloha shirt, and it is a lot more casual feeling. It's just every Friday is Aloha Friday. You want to be thankful for all the trials and tribulations the week has given you, but at the same time, we're working our way into the weekend, man. So happy Aloha Friday.
I love it. I remember when you came in here several months ago, which was the genesis of our relationship, and you had the Hawaiian shirt on. You have one now, and you said it's Aloha Friday. That was a new term to me. I like it. It's a whole vibe, right? Are guys my age, close to 50, allowed to use that?
It's a whole vibe terminology. I love that. That's exactly, you're embodying it, man. Aloha Friday.
So I want you to wear your Aloha Friday stuff in here every week. Our viewers will watch it. For those of you that don't know, JR is a gigantic man, and he plays football. And he has recently signed with the CFL. Now, they're currently in season now. Correct me if I'm wrong, JR.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're right at the end of it. They've got playoffs right now. Yeah.
So JR departs here next March or April or May, and he goes to the CFL to ply his trade and hopefully live his dream. But it's great for the Sports Report because we get the best of both worlds. We get JR while he's here in the studio near downtown Dallas. Look at that. Look at that view. And then we get him inside info in the CFL. Is there another show out there where they currently have – they can have NFL guys all they want from the inside the locker room. Pat can have on Aaron Rodgers every week. But do they have J.R. Hensley coming from a locker room in the CFL after just dismantling some defensive line?
Absolutely not, man. No, it's a very unique and wonderful situation. I think it's really important, too, especially with all these feeder leagues and things like that are going on, that it's important to kind of document the process. You know, I mean, the IFL just had a huge partnership with the XFL. That's massive news. And same thing, you know, the USFL's open and the CFL. So yeah, I think it's really good to get an inside view of the guys working their way up, because you're going to see CFL guys end up making it. You're going to see USFL guys end up making it, and XFL guys. So it also just gives a good perspective, man, of what that life is like, especially, you know, going to a different country and still playing the same game, basically.
Yeah, and I like the fact that you play and continue to want to play and continue to go to that next level. We see guys daily. The media loves a good underdog success story, right? What could be a better underdog story than J.R. Hensley? Highly coveted potential high school recruit coming out. He goes to Hawaii. Why? Because he does what the hell he wants to do, right? I'm sure your parents were like, that is awesome. You're going to Hawaii. Then you tear your quad basically right off the bone. Mm-hmm. You're probably laid up in the hospital bed thinking NFL drafts. It's over.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah, I remember those phone calls. It wasn't until like I had gotten a phone call or two. I remember the Detroit Lions hit me up like probably a month after it happened, and this was right before the draft. And they were like, hey, we're not going to draft you, obviously, but we want to know what's going on, like what's your situation is. And after I told them, about the quad and everything, they're like, hey, well, if we keep in touch, I'll let you know. And so, but that was just kind of like the fire under my ass, right? Like that just kept me back into the game.
I've never been in that situation where a pro team has ever called me, but I'm assuming that maybe they didn't do their homework and were just trying to fill out. And then you tell them basically like, I'm temporarily crippled, and they're like, oh, wrong number.
Yeah, basically, yeah, that's exactly what it's like. I mean, I wasn't one of those guys that, I was basically a 4-year starter. So, I wasn't anticipating, even if I had stayed healthy, I wasn't anticipating on getting drafted. I went to a smaller school, but I knew that there were going to be opportunities for camps and practice squad stuff, and especially with the CFL. I was talking with the CFL during they would come and visit me. Even the BC Lions, who I'm signed to now, would come and visit me, and they'd be like, oh man, if you're 10 pounds lighter, we're looking at you for tackle. I'm like, shit, I'll drop 10 pounds right now and go play or whatever. But
I could go in the bathroom and lose 10 right now.
Yeah,
I need
exactly,
to, right? I might be in there a while, but I could lose 10 if you're about to write me a big check.
Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, it was that kind of thing when they said, yeah, we're thinking about you, or at least just talking to you. That was enough for me. That was enough to be like, get your ass up. Don't sit here and complain and bitch about it. Go do something for it.
Right. And I love the fact you're part of the team and you're a multifaceted guy, and we support you. I hope you're playing in the NFL one day for selfish reasons, as well as I love the heck out of you, and I want you to go get what you want. And
hell yeah. I appreciate it, Randall.
On Friday, right? So I don't know if you guys, of our very few viewers, we haven't been live in a couple of weeks. And we thought this problem was specific to us, right? We've had technical issues over and over and over, whether it's audio or video. Things have had issues. Our resident consultant, our tech guy, Anthony, who's actually in the building today. Woo! Glad to have you back, Anthony. Anthony was in Iceland for like a week, but was still texting JR back and forth trying to help us out. But it's different when the man is in the building. Things are going different. I mean, the whole thing could crap out right now, but at least he's here in the flesh, and we can blame him right in person.
We got Anthony,
We always have to talk about this on Friday, right?
Yeah.
Last night's Thursday night football game, they've had Amazon, I believe it averages out to $78 million per game on Thursday night. That's everything that they have, all the tentacles they have that are coming out of Thursday night football. I'm sure it's the pregame and all. $78 million is what it's costing them per game. Last night was about a $5 game. Last Thursday was $2.50. The NFL, it's the NFL's fault, right? They have built up our calluses to where we need to see instant gratification touchdowns. That's why you can no longer touch the quarterback. Can't even breathe on him. Ask Mr. Carr.
Oh man.
But that's the thing. Like, you watch it. So I'm almost 50 years old, and I've watched every iteration of football. And I usually don't sit down to a game, guys, or I'm not finishing the entire game. At halftime last night, and maybe it's because I took the over, which was 38, when it was 3-0 at halftime, all of a sudden I appear back into the house from my man cave outside, and basically I can tell my wife's like, wonder what he's doing in here or whatever. And I think I started ranting about something. I went back and finished the end. I saw the Commanders win it. I was not pulling for them because they are in our division and things move quickly in the NFL. Cowboys or Eagles could drop 3 or 4 in a row, and Redskins could win 3 or 4 in a row. And then we've got a massive tie, and they're saying the NFC East sucks again. It's the natural evolution of the media. But much to my chagrin, we do have an employee here. He's a great guy. Woo! He's a Commanders fan. Travis, talk to me about last night's game.
Hey, you know what? It wasn't pretty at all. It really was not a pretty game at all. But I'm not mad. We finally won a game after just winning in week 1. So instead of losing 3 in a row, I can finally have a good week and be happy about it. The most important thing that I was happy about, I know it wasn't a high-scoring game. It was more of a defensive game, all that. But the best thing that I can talk about is Brian Robinson scoring a touchdown after being shot. It was 6 weeks after being shot. He was in the facility 2 days after he got shot. There's really I mean, there's no other greater story than that. You can't get much better than that. Other than that, it wasn't a pretty game. We won by an inch. Thank God Mooney did not catch that ball. In my opinion, that's pretty much where I was at with it. We finally got a win, so my week is made. I don't even care about the rest of football all week.
You know, I'm happy for you, Travis. But do me a favor. Don't ever wear that pullover in here again. Anything since Washington.
Hey, guess what? On Monday, I'm just gonna rock a whole Redskins jersey, whichever one you want.
I just felt bad for Justin Fields, man. That the only exciting part that I felt was in that last drive of the game, right? And they just couldn't pull it off, and it was just like, damn. Travis was jumping up and down. We watched that game last night. He was having a blast, but. Yeah,
I wasn't here. I missed that. They were in the studio watching the game. I was home, not watching the game, talking to my kids. Here's what I'll say about Fields, and I'm shoplifting a little bit of this commentary, guys, from the post-game commentary that I saw. He is an elite ball runner. He runs a 4.4, which doesn't always equate. There's a lot of 4.4 guys probably running around that aren't elite ball. He clearly, you saw that long run he had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Clearly has a nose for the ball. He's a great player. I agree with what they're saying. He doesn't look fundamentally sound in the pocket. He's trying to get out of the pocket. You could win more games if you would play to that strength. Again, shoplifting some of their commentary, but it's fairly common sense. You know what I mean? Like if you have a thoroughbred that can really, really run and get out and make plays, do you want him to stand in the pocket all the time when he already looks jittery and he's trying to get rid of the ball too quickly or whatever? I think they could be much better than they are. The Commanders, I think, lucked out and won that game, but a win is a win. And I know Travis, we've seen all these things like this before in the NFC East. I mean, after everything we've been through in the past few years socially and all that, I would not be surprised if Washington ends up winning the division.
That's the thing, Randall, is our defense isn't playing bad at all. It's not the defense, it's the offense. And the thing about, everybody keeps bashing on Carson Wentz, saying that he's not playing good, he's turning the ball over. He's number one. He has 10 touchdown passes so far. He's number one in the NFC East with touchdown passes. Jalen Hurts is right under the second one under him with 4. So he's not playing completely that bad. He does make bad decisions. Our offensive line is god awful. I mean, you could literally watch the game last night, and it's a disaster. So I can't put the blame all on Carson Wentz. I really can't.
Yeah, well, of course you can't because he's quarterbacking your team. But I mean, Carson reminds me of the young lady who gets married right the first time and ends in divorce. And then she gets married a second time and ends in divorce. And it's always the husband's fault. By this time, as he's landing at the Redskins, if it doesn't work out, we're going to have to start pointing fingers at the bride a little bit, right? It's not always the guy's fault.
Well, Travis, I know you saw the injuries, right? Aren't you worried about this upcoming week? We've got defensive linemen coming out of the game. We've got offensive lines definitely depleted. You've got guys giving up sacks and pressures and things like that. I mean, what are we going to even get better in the upcoming weeks?
See, and that's what scares me. I know we got Chase Young coming back, but I mean, honestly,
when's he coming back?
He's supposed to come back in about 2 more weeks. So at first he was supposed to come back in 4 weeks. He was on, I want to say, the PUP list he started off on, and then he was supposed to come back after 4 weeks. That got pushed back. So now they're saying about 6 to 8 weeks. So we really don't even know exactly. And then you see Jonathan Allen get hurt yesterday. You see Deron Payne get hurt yesterday. Those are both of our biggest pieces. Our offensive line, I've already said this before, it's a disaster. It is a complete disaster where last year we weren't even that bad, and then now it's all blown up.
Well, tell me, I mean, obviously I don't keep up with the Redskins intimately, or the Commanders intimately. If I've said Redskins several times, I'm sorry. It's
still the Redskins.
I meant to say Commanders with all due respect to the team. I haven't been keeping up with them, JR, Travis. Are they missing some linemen? Did they just not draft? What's going on?
Well, we lost Brandon Sheriff over the offseason to the Jaguars. Morgan Moses has been gone for a couple years, which he played right tackle, which I don't want to be like an asshole, but I mean he's not elite, but he's good. He's good enough to hold it down. And then I know we've been switching up. We just lost our center last week. Yeah, it's all kind of beat up.
I want to know this. I think we've talked about this before, but I'm curious. As a young man who grew up in Texas, that young man being you, at what point did you go off and become a Commanders fan? Back then, a Redskins fan. But what happened in your life that propelled you that way?
No matter what, I know I'm the same way though. I don't call them the Commanders. I'm still a Redskins fan.
It's hard, man.
It's hard.
Habit.
It's hard. It's really hard not to. Even me as a fan, I've known him my whole entire life as a Redskin. So it kind of started when Sean Taylor. So growing up, me playing football my entire life, nonstop. Basically, I watched Sean Taylor at Miami. Was with one of the best defenses in college football of all time. The way he played the game was 0 to 100. It was that is exactly how a safety should play. It's exactly how Cam Chancellor played. But that's how I started. And then with his whole tragedy of basically like his friends coming into his house and breaking in, and when he wasn't supposed to be there, and then him getting shot, it almost reminded me a lot like it. Whenever I heard about the Brian Robinson situation, it was like, oh my God, here we go again. We're about to lose another one to a robbery, armed robbery and all that. But that's when it all started, was in 2007. I actually became a Redskins fan. And the craziest thing, all my friends, my family, die-hard Cowboy fans. Die hard. So my brother's name is literally named Dallas after the Dallas Cowboys. So it's one of those things where I'm not going to love a team just because I live there. I'm going to like a team because that's the team that I'm going to root for, and I'm going to put everything I have into that one team.
So basically, you're saying you're selfish and self-centered, and you're going to deviate away from the core family and going to Cowboy games together. And I get it, man. It's cool.
I'm different. I'm one of those people that I've gotten this far, so I'm just going to keep going how I do things.
Well, I will say this, and JR can probably speak to this because he spends more time with you than anyone. We're so glad. I'm glad you're part of the team. I'm glad you finally responded to my emails coming on. For those that don't know, Travis has a really big following on TikTok, which is just, for better or worse, one of those necessary metrics that you have to meet if you're gonna participate in this game. He's up to like 350, 320 followers TikTok. He does Where Are They Now stories, and they really resonate with people. We loved him. We brought him on. He's going to keep doing his personal page, and he's doing origin stories for us and other things. First video right out of the gate he did for us, 50K banger?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So happy to have you on. Hopefully I don't have to get you on a lot. That would mean that the Redskins are continuing to win.
That's exactly what we want.
No. JR, I know we have we've got your boy coming on here.
Blake Sims.
In a few minutes.
Sims. We got a former Alabama quarterback. He's a natty champ himself. He started out, he was a utility guy, was able to, catch balls, run with it, and then became the quarterback over at Alabama. And, he's just he's so well respected within the Crimson Tide community, as well as, just in the football world in general. So when he comes on, he talks Alabama football, you're going to know he's very well on camera. Good dude. I played quarterback. I played with him in the IFL over in Spokane Shock, and then this past season for the Frisco Fighters. So that's kind of how our worlds collided.
Yeah, and you and I have introduced each other to people we didn't know previous, right? And Blake's instantly became one of my all-time faves. He's just a good guy all the way around. And he's going to give us some insight. The question a lot of us want to know is Bryce playing, or do we think he's going to play? Is a game-time decision? And we'll ask him those questions. He should be on any minute. And then at 11:15 or 11 or so, RJ Ochoa, regular contributor to the show. He is the guy pulling all the strings over at Blogging with the Boys, which is a Sports Nation product now. He comes on and he's going to give us some feedback on the Cowboys. Until Blake joins us, JR, what are you big weekend plans?
Well, I wish I could say I've got something super exciting, but I have an IOU. I got to help my brother move. He just got into the medical device sales world, and Randall knows all about that. But he's been living in an apartment with his family for a couple of years now, and now he has a kid about a year old. they're trying to branch out and get into some bigger space. So, yeah, he can't do it on his own. So then, that's what little brothers are for, I guess.
When duty calls, hold that shot right there. So one of the things I'm very proud of this show today, guys, that looks really good. That background, the way we've cropped it out, it looks really good. But back to your story, yeah, your family's family. Moving, though, is one of those IOUs that it sucks.
Yeah, it's awful. No, it's awful. And I'm just thankful because this time 2 years ago, I had to help him move all that shit up into his apartment, and it's 3 flights of stairs. So it's freezing cold. You've got freezing rain. We rented a U-Haul, had to drive 2 hours with this, and then go upstairs with massive stuff. At least I'm going downstairs this time, and it's a house, so it's gonna be terrible because moving's terrible. But
yeah,
at least I'm not going up 3 flights of stairs every time.
Be careful on that downstairs moving. Like don't get complacent and think, oh, I'm not. It'll take you'll ski right down. And you'll be like, man, I wish I was going. Maybe it's happened to me before. I don't know.
Yeah, you seem like you've got a little.
I'm at the point now. We moved during the pandemic we moved back to my hometown, and we had some land. We're building, sold it, and ended up getting an old family home and restoring it. Here's my thing with moving. If family or work colleagues or buddies call me, and I always say this, I didn't even move my own family. We hired someone to move us just because it's a pain. And I'm older. I don't envy you, but you're a good brother. You're leaving this weekend. Hopefully you'll still have some opportunities to catch college football.
A part of me of course. A part of me just says, hey, I love doing the right thing, but also I love an IOU down the road.
Yeah. I think maybe you're just being a little nosy. You want to figure out where he lives now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? See his new digs.
Yeah.
Yes, the medical sales world, I know very well. That's what I've done for 20-something years. But I want to show this off again. I know somebody had told us they thought this was a green screen. It was fake. There's a little bit of a glare probably there, but that's actually the Dallas skyline. Now, that's not winning necessarily any worldwide architectural awards, but we're very fond of the skyline, especially at night. We have rabid raccoons here on the patio.
Saw them last night, man, getting after it.
And I know people will ask me about this. That is the Luka mosaic. We had a guy come in and made this out of tiny Rubik's cubes.
Luka,
that's right. Luka, baby.
Guy's a dog.
That's the reason I have it out here, though. We're primarily talking about the NFL right now. I need Luka to come in and sign this, autograph it. We're going to auction it off, and hopefully that person who wins it will take it and hang it in the Children's Hospital here in Dallas, which I know that Luka has an affinity for. He's done work with them. He visits the children. So we want to get that done. So that's why I leave that there until he does sign it. And I think we are approximately 5 minutes away from the Mavericks corporate office. So maybe 10 minutes away from the stadium, from the American Airlines Arena. So he can come sign this, and we can make things happen for a deserving hospital. Is Blake? We have Blake on?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Bring him on in, and then toss him in here, and let's see what we have. I want to welcome our regular contributor, Mr. Blake Sims, to the show. He comes on a couple times a week. For those of you that don't know him, climb out from underneath that rock and realize this guy's one of the best Bama players, one of the most popular players. What's going on, man?
What's up, baby? How you doing?
Now, I probably can't hear him because I don't have my earpiece in. One sec, Blake.
All right.
Caught up in the excitement of you being on, and you're smiling there, and I don't even hear you. So give me a sec.
Yeah, I still can't hear him at the moment. I'm just hearing feedback.
Blake, nod if you can hear me.
Yeah.
Did he nod?
He nodded.
All right. Let's see what we have here.
Oh, what's up, Six?
What's up, baby? How you doing, man?
Oh, man, I'm just happy to hear from you, man. See that smiling face. What you got going on, brother?
Man, I'm right here at school just chilling, and I'm about to train like about 3 of my players from my team. It's all season work, and they thought they was going to just chill and hanging out and start playing video games. And I said, no, baby, it's off season.
Well, I know that foot's getting to twitching right now. I know they're not playing any games around 6.
Man, I'm telling you, they're excited. Their mom was about to pull off. I was like, Mom, where you going? She was like, oh, we didn't think you was here. I was like, baby, I'm always around. Don't do me like that now.
Blake's favorite expression, and this would be to me on the offensive line, or really if there'd be people messing around in practice, he'd be like, hey, man, I got this foot hot and ready right for your ass if you're not paying attention right now. And I was like, we even had an award. We had an award called the Boot in Your Ass Award, and 6 was the recipient many weeks in a row, man.
Is that a good or a bad thing?
Oh, it's a great thing.
It's
it's an attitude. It's an attitude statement, man. He's ready to go every damn day.
Every day, man. Hey.
Look at him out in the sunlight today. I love it.
Yeah, man, we getting it.
Blake, let's jump right into this, man. I got a question.
Talk to me.
What do you think about the Tennessee quarterback?
Man, respect him a lot. A lot of respect for that young man. I like the way he has developed into being a college quarterback and being a threat towards defense, you know. And I think he's doing a wonderful job, and I wish him nothing but the best.
That's great to hear. I know that's respect coming from, obviously you're not a Tennessee guy. You're a Bama guy. Take me back. How many times have you played at Tennessee, and what happened in those games?
So I believe my first time at Tennessee was 2000. So I didn't go 2010 because I redshirted. And my first time at Tennessee was 2012. And I think Julio Jones broke the record for the most yards in SEC. That's where he broke the record on the go ball when Greg McElroy threw it to him. And,
I like it.
Then they came to Tuscaloosa, and we destroyed them. Went back. It was 15 years in a row destroying Tennessee. That's all I remember. But every time I go to Tennessee, it's a great environment. The Tennessee fans are amazing. They're head on us. They always make T-shirts. Not today saving. And I know they hate making it, but it never helps them win the game. But they make it every year. I hate all the orange everywhere. The orange hurts my eyes. It hurts my soul. And I love rolling in town, sparking me up a good cigar, and smoking it in their locker room.
I like it, man. So I like that you have respect for the fan base. I've often heard, I haven't been to that stadium myself, but I've heard the fans and what we see on TV. It's a special place to play. It's got to be even more special to come in there and kick their ass when you have the chance.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, I got a lot of respect for Tennessee. I almost went to Tennessee while Lane Kiffin was there. If Lane Kiffin probably would have never left and went back to USC at that time, who's telling? I probably would have worn the orange, and I'll be speaking differently of them right now.
That's right. It's funny how things work out. What do you see? Who's in and who's out this week? Bryce is going to be a game time decision. We're all hearing, right?
Yeah, I believe Bryce will be ready to play. I think Bryce, last week, he cheered on his teammates and he was a big leader. But I think now he's ready to go.
Yeah, I'll tell you this because we're friends. Being honest, I took A&M. I took the points on them plus 24, and I sent it out in a text in the group text. I just felt like, I mean, our guys, the backup's a talented player, right? Probably the most athletic guy on the field. Mm-hmm. But because of being new and whether or not A&M is currently ranked, they always seem ready to play Bama here recently. Mm-hmm. I felt like there was a chance for some turnovers. Unfortunately for Bama fans, that happened. But, look at it from this perspective. If you're Nick Saban, are you that pissed off that your quarterback was under a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, and you still won? Or does that guy come out of that game better for it?
He comes out better. I think he comes out better because one thing Coach Saban's going to do he's not gonna let him feel good about any of the plays that he made, because we don't have time to focus on that. We got to move on to the next game, and we got to focus on getting better, right? Learn from our mistakes, grow from our mistakes, and understand our mistakes and why we don't need to do it. And it was a lot of times in situation football. We could speak that kind of football too. He looked to go deep a couple times where he could have just dumped the ball off to the running back and let him get a couple yards and get a first down and let the clock run to our favor.
Speaking of Saban, obviously we know of him as being a great coach. He not only JR is he's not a one-time guy, right? He just keeps winning. Mm-hmm. So there's a formula there. So I believe a lot of what he does, man, is really based in a lot of psychology, right? He knows how to push buttons in that. Let's say, just take a guess. Okay, the guy had 4 turnovers Saturday, right? Mm-hmm. Coach basically said something at halftime. Hey, he needs to put both hands on the ball, right? Everybody heard it. Obviously, his family or other players probably told him what was said after the game. But from your experience with Saban, when a guy goes through a really rough week like that, is it talked about on the flight home and then it's forgotten the next week, or does it linger and he's constantly reminding you right up until kickoff of the next game that, hey, you can't do that? Or does he just, is he just like, hey, we're done with it, we're moving on?
No, I think he speaks about it at least one more time and then watches him very closely in practice. And I think the leaders on the team and the people that holds him accountable, that they hold, they make sure they watch it and let them know, like, hey, you know what I'm saying, you starting to hold the ball with one hand when you're starting to get out the pocket. Make sure you keep 2 hands on the ball. And maybe Coach Saban has a guy watching him. But I think once it gets closer to game time, you kind of back up off him, let him breathe a little bit, and you don't bring it up until you probably walk on the field. Like, hey, take your time, take what the defense give you, and make sure you keep 2 hands on the ball. Ball security, ball security, ball security.
Yeah, I'll ask one more question, then I'll pivot it over to your guy, JR. And let's be honest, JR is the reason you're on our show. And I want to reiterate for a couple people that popped on. Blake Sims, he handles our Roll Tide Rundown segment a couple times a week. Blake's a former player for Bama, if you don't know who he is. Since we're in that same vein of talking about Saban, and you haven't gotten to tell any jokes yet today, what's the worst ass chewing you personally got from Saban? What'd you do? There must be several, and you're trying to just isolate one in your head, right?
Yeah, I was trying to isolate one that's appropriate. Okay. So, sometimes Coach Saban, he yells at you, and you don't understand why he's getting on you. And 99% of the time, it's to better you, right? So, Coach Saban, we in practice, and we're preparing for the other team. And once again, this goes into this bubble over here of buying in, right? So I'm mad at Coach Saban, and I'm on scout team, and I got this mindset like, hey, I'm about to tear this defense up today because Coach Saban got me mad, and I'm going to show him that I should be playing. And so I went out there, and I'm throwing the ball, and every time I complete it, I'm yelling, I'm throwing the fist pump and everything. And so then Coach Saban calls the option. I go with the option. Deontay Hightower comes off the edge. I pump the pitch, take it upfield, shake a couple guys and score, and I'm coming back talking junk. And Coach Saban said, "God dang it, Sales, pitch the ball!" He was saying like, "Pitch the ball, Sales!" And I was like, "Coach Saban, you told me to keep it." And so he grabbed his cards and was like, "Pitch these!" And then walked away. And what made me so mad about that story, he's like yelling to the point he's on his toes, right? And when he turns around and looks at like Mark Ingram, CJ Mosley, Scott Cochran, Kirby Smart, and all them guys, when he turns around in them, he's winking and smiling. And when he turns back and looks at me, he looks at my body language and starts going off again. Start going off on me again, right? And so, like, man, he started going off again. So it all turns out to, like, Coach Saban was just playing. It was just a joke because he was liking the fact that I was pushing the defense that hard that day And he been wanting me to come to practice, treating every practice like a game. But my body language went down because he was coaching me. He didn't like that. And so Coach Cochran told me that I was fine at the beginning, but when my body language changed, he jumped on me. He was like, so how can he trust if he gets on you then like that now, how can he trust that you're going to perform to the top level in the game when he fusses at you like that?
Yeah, and that's pretty much what I suspected. This guy's a master of psychology, right? He knows how to get the best out of you. And obviously he did end up getting the best out of you. That worked.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to pump it over to JR. I know he's going to ask you some specific stuff about, are we considering this the premier game of the weekend, Tennessee-Bama? What about TCU?
I was about to say there's another one right there, and I'm a Big 12 guy. Like, Blake knows this already. I'm gonna be rooting for the Big 12, and as an offensive lineman, I just love that shit. TCU and Oklahoma State's big, but we'll stay on this for right now. I know Coach Cochran, by the way, Blake. So guy is very, very special, but oh my God, this guy is off the wall. I know he's, I remember hearing stories about him putting Tiger Bomb on the nutsack to get it ready to go, So that's just the way that they go. They get they get it. Yeah, exactly. I love it. So what I wanted to talk to you, obviously the big thing here is I'm a big believer in the Alabama defense and what they've got going. Pete Golding, outstanding job they got over there. But we're talking about Alabama going up against a Josh Heupel offense, and they smacked LSU last week. They're back on top right now. What are going to be the keys to success for Alabama? So, obviously defensively, but talk about it a little bit.
For sure, whoever the quarterback that plays, taking care of the ball security is always big in the game, right? And also understanding the situation in the game. Obviously, if you don't feel good about that deep pass, man, take it down to that running back. We have a great running back in Grizz, man. He's doing an awesome job. He's having high receiving yards, and also carrying the ball is very good. I think what's going to be big about Alabama, man, if plays go bad, how we gonna react to bad plays, bad situations? How we gonna come into a high environment stadium and perform? Are we gonna let the trash talking, in Coach Saban words, the rat poison? Are we gonna let it bother us, or are we gonna take the way we played from last week and come out and make a statement to let everybody know, hey, Alabama haven't won anywhere? For Tennessee, I'll say that just coming out, man, with that chip on their shoulder. And like I said, for Alabama, man, it's going to be bad plays. How you going to overcome them bad plays? Have a good game plan in the first half and understand the mistakes that you had in the first half, and coming out and going in the locker room at halftime, going to your coach, and the coaches coming together and executing it to the players to understand what their mistakes was and what the new game plan is for the second half.
Mm-hmm. And if we just go and we find a way to stop, we've got two on both sides. We've got two Heisman hopefuls here, and we have Hendon Hooker over 1,400 yards already, 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He's a guy whose QBR rating is just going up week by week, and now his draft stock's gone in the first round. So if we can find a way to limit that, I'm sure we're going to have some great success, man.
Oh, for sure.
So, you said, what high school are you coaching at right now, Blake?
I'm at Mount Bethel Christian Academy.
How big is that?
We're 1A, if that makes sense.
It does. Yeah, I played at a 6A high school, so okay. But I did coach.
Nobody likes a bragger.
I did coach for a little bit in Spokane with a 3A size school.
Field goals.
All right.
Each side ranks among the bottom of the
All right. Don't know what's going on there. It's still going. I don't know. I'm just gonna try, and there we go. It's gone. But yeah, no, I'm sure you're still I'm sure you're still instilling that Alabama mentality on those kids every single day, dude. So that's pretty cool that you're giving back to the community like that.
Yeah, man, just motivation and having them kids understand, bro. Like when I first started, man, I started realizing how much my words impacted them and how much they followed me. And I just want to keep pushing on, man, and win a state championship with Mount Bethel.
It's awesome, bro.
I'm a big fan of that, Blake. I know. Imagine, I'm sure you had that same experience as these young guys had. Is there had to be someone that you ran across, especially with all the camps and stuff I'm sure you went to. I mean, you were a big recruit. Was there one guy that sticks out to you back in the day that you, even if you just met him once, that just meeting him changed maybe your trajectory, or you're like trying to emulate him? Who was that for you?
Michael Vick, man. I had an opportunity to really meet Michael Vick at a young age, and he changed my life, man. Just seeing how his family, the way his family lived and where he came from, and the way that he was, and how he carried himself, and the way that the game of football changed his life, and also just being able to learn from his mistakes. That was the biggest part, because learning from his mistakes, I could pick it up early when it was someplace I shouldn't have been, or someplace I need to go and leave,
I like Mike Vick for the fact that Mike made enough money playing in the NFL that if he wanted to take his lumps and not address the issues that he had head on and come back into the media spotlight, he could have, but he didn't take that route, right? He said, I own this. I messed up, came back. Man, what a hell of a player. It felt like his career was we just had a little window, man, a little glimpse. And I always felt like he was going to win a Super Bowl at some point, be the starter to come in and take it off. But man, what a great player.
Yeah, man.
I could just tell, man, he's a good dude.
Yeah, though. I mean, it speaks a lot for him to, all the things that happened with the dogs and stuff. It broke a lot of hearts, man. And then, but it was a big movement because a lot of people wanted to come and, be there for him. And he was kind of a big reason why I went to Alabama, because Frank Ski, he runs a big radio station in Atlanta. That's the number one station in Atlanta, V103. And he had Michael Vick there on the show one time, and he called me and was like, man, I know you ain't seen Vick in a long time, but he's going to be at the radio station. And I was like a special guest, and he didn't know it was me. And after, man, we took a picture. I still have the picture to this day. And, man, I'm blessed to have him. And just to see the adversity he went through with the Dogs and came back with Philadelphia Eagles and performed the way he did and left the game and still impacted young guys like Lamar Jackson and just all the dual threat quarterbacks, man, it's just amazing. And I feel like that's the journey that I'm on right now too. And he's just still impacting me from a distance and don't even know what he's doing now.
Man, that's awesome. And I'm sure he'd love to hear it. And I definitely remember him playing for the Eagles. He lit up my Cowboys.
Yeah.
A few times. He was a hard man to stop, and whether it was the Cowboys or whoever. Back to the Tennessee-Bama game, man. You were out in Tuscaloosa last weekend, right?
Yes, sir.
What was the did you go down and did you see Saban and the guys or anybody before the game? Did you talk to Bryce?
Oh, no, I didn't get to talk to none of the players, but, I hung around our championship team and just hang around the guys and just laugh about old memories and how Coach Saban used to have us working so hard and how we used to do two-a-days, and now they don't have two-a-days no more. They just have one-a-days. We used to talk about how we used to hate camp and just get 3 hours of sleep that whole 2 weeks. Only if it was 2 weeks of camp, it felt like a whole month for us, and we just always we was talking about that and talking about how people get full body cramps and they'll just get to crying and yelling and, just throwing jokes, man. But like we said at the end, man, holding up that ring and having them experiences of like going to Miami, playing Notre Dame, staying in the Fountain Blue. Like we're 18, 19, 20, 21, all the way up to 24 years old, staying in a Fontainebleau that we probably would never get the opportunity to stay in a hotel like that never again in our life. And we were just soaking it in and just appreciation. That's all it was that whole weekend, appreciation, and just knowing how much like we appreciate each other, and just seeing how much like guys that was skinny and now they're big, and then guys that was big then they skinny as ever now. It was just like a lot of jokes going around, man, and seeing Coach Saban smile when he seen us, it was just like a reunion.
So was it actually a reunion, or just a bunch of you got together and said, hey, let's meet up there this weekend?
Oh no, it was a reunion. It was all
like
ran
it.
by Coach Saban and the university.
I'm sure they treat you nice, man.
Oh yeah,
They set you up.
It was state of the art.
Oh yeah, I bet the food was great.
Oh yes, it was so good I had to use a knife and a fork.
I love it. Does Bryce play Saturday? And if he does not play, is Alabama, and I hate asking this question because you're a Bama guy. Does Bama struggle without Bryce playing this week? Tennessee scores a lot of points, man.
They do score a lot of points, man. But I mean, come on, man. We keep speaking about Bryce, but that's not act like we don't have Will Anderson. We don't have Griggs.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have Brooks. We don't have other guys over the years now. Like, let's stop acting like we don't have Coach Saban. Like, come on, guys. Like, we have shown in the past that we have guys that step up. So somebody's gonna have to step up, and God dang it, that's what somebody got to do.
Right. See, but I couldn't get a good soundbite like that from you if I didn't like tee up the tension a little bit. That's when you're at your best, is when I'm saying, hey, is Alabama in danger of losing? And you're like, you really want to tell me things really that he can't say on live, but you turn it into a joke. So it's not an assassination attempt on Bama. Bama's Bama. Last week was an interesting game, but I think you said it too. Like, it's no shock for whatever reason that the Aggies always seem like they're up to play Bama, even though they lost, to Appalachian State early in the year. You can take all that out, but I'm going to say that Bama, with or without Bryce, I feel like this is a Saban flex moment where I'm going to flex my muscle. And I'm saying Bama by at least 2 touchdowns, no matter who is under center. And Blake, I'm not saying that just to kiss your ass, right? Because I could hide from you because you never come in the studio. We're in Dallas, you're wherever. But
hey,
I'm saying
I might pop up on a surprise now.
We got a security gate out there. I don't want you coming here and getting on me if Bama loses, but I'm saying Bama, it feels like a couple touchdowns because it feels like Saban all week is telling the guys, and I haven't been in the locker room like you, don't believe all this shit. They're not that good. We're gonna Bama them, right? We're gonna run the ball down their throat. We're gonna hit some long passes when we have to. We're gonna pick this. They say he's the next Heisman winner, right? We've got the current Heisman winner in the building. Go pick this guy off a couple times, rough him up, and make Sports Illustrated and ESPN forget about him.
I mean, some of that talk's been going on. I mean, I feel like them coaches talking like that because, I mean, one thing we don't like when you doubt us. We're gonna make you eat your words, and that's what we stalled in this, man. It's the Bama way, man. And we're gonna come out there and we're gonna hush that crowd up just like a couple of years ago when Bo Scarborough he ran like I think it was like a 50-yard touchdown. And when he scored, he put the A on his glove in his face.
Mistake.
In the face. In the fans' face. And showed them like, hey, this is what we're about, man. This game is very close. I got a shout out to another coach that was on the coaching staff of the football team that I coached on, Eric McAfee. He's a Tennessee fan. We haven't spoke to each other since yesterday. And we walked past each other a couple of times, and this game is very personal, man. We take it very personal, and this is the only game that matters this week.
Nice.
That's a great quote. The only game that matters this week. Mm-hmm. That's why you got to look at it, right? Yeah. I know Blake's got to get off and mentor and get his students online. JR, do you have a final question for him?
Yeah. To one question. I need a score prediction right now from Blake Sims.
Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah.
I'm going.
Last one, hey, for the record, last week you said 55-0.
Probably because he did it himself.
Hey, I was 50-50. I was 50-50. I said 55-0 with a W. So I got the win.
That's right.
I will say this week I'm gonna go 32-14.
32-14. I love it, man.
14.
That's fantastic. I got Bama by 10. I think that's a pretty good score right
That's
there.
a cop out right there. 10 points. Come on.
I got him by 10,
All right.
man. I got him by 10. I think that it's going to be not as high scoring of a game. I think it's going to be a very big defensive game. That's just me. But we'll see how it goes. I've been wrong plenty of times. Blake, I need one more thing from you, and I think you know what that is.
Actually, hang on. Doesn't Travis want to ask?
Oh, yeah, Travis, what you got, big dog?
Blake, you haven't met our new guy yet. I think, Travis, maybe you have.
Hey, what's up, Blake? What's up, man?
What's up, Travis?
It is a pleasure to meet you and talk to you. I have one specific question, and I know the listeners out there want to hear this. You played on some dominant Alabama teams, man. You've played with like Derrick Henry, A.J. McCarron, Amari Cooper. Who is the most interesting guy and player that you've ever played with at Alabama?
Boom. Great question.
I have to say, that's a good question. Interesting guy. Dang. I say, man,
Hey, I got you on your toes on that one.
yeah, man, you got me on my toes on that one. I'll go with my main man, Dante Hightower, man.
Ooh, okay. I didn't even think about that one.
Yeah, Dante Hightower, because he's not really spoken about a lot, and he's a heck of a player, man. He impacted our team a lot, and he was a leader.
Yeah, he's done his thing in the NFL too with the Patriots for sure.
Come on, baby. He don't want multiple. I know you talk about Tom Brady having a lot of championships, but hey, I know my man's got a lot.
And he was a big piece in that.
Most definitely.
Great question, Travis. That's the longest I've ever heard Blake pause. You stumped him. Great question. Blake?
Hold on. I want y'all to meet one of my quarterbacks. His name is Blake also. He's about to be one of the next upcoming quarterbacks.
What's going on, man?
What's up, Blake? Good to meet you. You're live. I guess he cut off.
I guess he cut off.
I think the young man might have touched the phone, and that's what my kids do. Man, for those 3 or 4 people that watch us religiously, Blake is a big fan of the show, or Blake is a big. We're a big fan of Blake. He comes on, he gives his segment every week. Love him a lot, and I think we're going to go on break for a minute, right?
Yeah,
we're going to play some videos and stuff that the guys have prepared, and we'll be back at maybe 10 minutes or so with RJ Ochoa from Blogging the Boys. Stand by, guys.
What's going on, guys? We're here over at the Cotton Bowl for OU Texas. We're here to find out which team is more mid. I love it, man.
We're ready. We got it this year.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He's a Texas fan, I'm guessing. Texas Lightning.
There you go. Nice to meet you, Shane. All right. Who will win a street fight between Venables and Sarkisian?
Sarkisian all day.
Yeah, well, like how bad?
He would brutalize him. You mess with the bull, you get the horns.
I love it. What's the score prediction for today's game?
I'm going to go 31-14 Texas.
All right, there we go. What's your name?
Jackson.
Connor. All right, Jackson and Connor. So let me ask you a question. Who will win in a street fight between Venables and Sarkisian?
Oh, Venables, easy.
It's no question. It's Venables.
Yeah, but like how bad?
I don't want to get into brutal detail, honestly. I don't know. We got to keep this PG.
All right. So how far did you guys travel to get here today?
We came from Norman.
Oh, there we go. You guys both go to OU?
Yes, sir.
Nice. You guys involved in any fraternities or anything like that?
Yeah, we're Kappa Sigmas.
All right.
Kappa Sig, yeah.
All right, awesome. So let me get a score prediction for today's game.
Score prediction? Ooh. It's not looking too bright. I'm going to say a solid. Ooh, what do you think?
I'll say a Sooner victory, 31-24.
31-24.
You got to get some confidence here in your voice.
All right, I'm going to say we're going to hang half 100 on them.
I love it, man. Hey, thank you. Hey, boys, let me get a score prediction for today's game, man. What's going on?
All right, so we got Ewers back, so we're going to have a high-flying offense. I think we're going to run the ball down their throats, but at the end of the day, I got 42-20, final score. Texas fight, baby.
What you got?
No shot, bro. It's going to be 63-14.
Okay. All right, if you had one message to give the Boomer Sooners to come down here for the game, what is it?
My favorite insult is that you look like a Sooner. We can tell that shit, and everybody who's dressed in normal clothes, you know what a Sooner looks like. You know what a Sooner talks like. So, it's just in our blood. That's what sets us apart.
People in red smell bad. They forgot to wear deodorant, for real.
All right. So if Steve Sarkisian and Brent Venables were in a fist fight in the street, who would win?
I mean, I feel like that's obvious,
Dude, Sharks from the streets, bro. We got that dog in us! We got that dog in us!
I appreciate y'all, man. Thank you so much. All right, what's going on? What's your name, man?
Lucas.
Lucas. All right, where are you from? Norman?
OKC.
OKC. I'm from OKC. That's awesome, bro. Yeah, so let me get a score prediction for today's game.
As much as I am here for OU and I love them, I'm feeling it's probably going to be something like 24 and probably 41.
And you're saying Texas? Oh man,
it's not good, but
you got to tell me, where'd you get this shirt right here?
My mom.
Your mom sounds like an amazing lady, because this right here is awesome. I have never seen anything like it. I love it.
Definitely, and it's comfortable. It's cool.
Yeah, easy breezy. I love it.
Easy breezy.
Yeah.
No sweat.
So so do you know who the quarterback's going to be today?
No idea. I heard that Gabriel was suiting up in practice 2 days ago.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, no, exactly right. All right, so if Brent Venables and Steve Sarkisian were in a fist fight, who would win?
I feel like Venables got some street rat in him. I feel like Venables has something hidden underneath that is gonna come out like some sort of possum fighting for its life.
Awesome, bro. I love it, man. Thank you so much.
Of course.
You have a good one, man.
You too.
Yes, sir. All right, what's going on? What's your name?
I'm Isaac. How are you? David.
Nice to meet you guys. Okay, so big Longhorns, guys.
Yep.
All right, let me get a score prediction for today's game.
I'm gonna go 31-20.
I'm gonna go 21-17.
All right. Hudson Card or Quinn Ewers?
Quinn Ewers all day.
Quinn Ewers.
Okay. Let me see here. If you had one message to give to the Boomer Sooners coming down here from Norman, what would it be?
Bijan's rushing for 430 yards.
You're gonna get shut down.
What's your name?
Andrew.
Andrew, I'm JR. All right, so first of all, score prediction for today's game.
Well, I really hope there's a lot of points, and I have to say Boomer's going to win. So we're going to win by 3. It's going to be 42-38. Oh, that's 4 points.
Are you still
4 points? 42-38.
Still feeling that from last week? Huh? I feel some optimism in your voice, but at the same time,
I want general booty.
That's awesome.
That's what I want.
Okay, so all right, so in a street fight, you got Brent Venables, you got Steve Sarkisian.
Oh, you have to take BV. I think anyone in their right mind takes BV.
Yeah, but
he's
how
psycho.
bad?
He's psycho. You ever seen him on the sidelines just going crazy?
Okay, so are you from Norman?
No, my mother-in-law's from Norman, so she went to OU. So I'm now a Boomer fan. Go Sooners.
Also, do you know who our quarterback is today?
Who? Texas?
No, OU.
No idea. That's why I said I hope it's General Booty.
Oh, yeah.
I hope it's not. I didn't even learn that other kid's name because, no offense, but he wasn't very good last week. So
yeah, no, I feel
that's why
it.
I want General.
Yeah. Okay.
So, all right, I need an answer here. In a fist fight, who would win? Brent Venables, Steve Sarkisian?
Brent Venables.
100%. Yeah, but like how bad?
Oh, like bloody.
First round knockout.
Yeah.
First round knockout?
Maybe 30 seconds.
Okay, let me get a score prediction for today's game.
I'm going 42-40.
42-40 OU.
OU.
Yeah, very.
I think
That's somewhat.
I think 37-17 OU. We're gonna fuck them up today.
Hey, so if you had to give something a little shout out to Longhorn Nation, what would you say?
Horns down, baby. Horns down.
Big UT guy. We are back.
We are back in the studio, the Sports Report.
TSR.
I like the fact that we are still cutting our teeth, JR, and there's not a whole lot of pressure when there's only 5 or 6 people watching. Now, we want to grow this exponentially. Next episode, we're looking for 10, right? And then 20, and then 40, and then up to 1,000. So there's some incentives if we get a certain amount of viewers. We're glad to be back. If you're curious, if you're not from the area and you're wondering what the skyline is, that's downtown Dallas. Our studio is not far from there. We love our space. We love our guest. RJ Ochoa now has updated us, is going to join us at 11:30. He's with Blogging the Boys. We will be talking about the Cowboys and what's going on, who's in and who's out this week, and any other news that RJ might have. But I know, JR, you're specifically telling me in break the 2 games back to the college game. There's 2 games that you just can't get your mind off this weekend. We've already addressed Alabama, Tennessee. We've all declared, including former Bama great Blake Sims. We've all declared that Bama wins this game no matter who's under center. But you want to talk Big 12, and you like the TCU-Oklahoma State matchup this week.
Very much. Yeah.
I've got to root for Oklahoma State in that matchup because my wife grew up a few minutes away from there. My in-laws live a few minutes away from there now.
Mm-hmm.
I know you were big on TCU. As a matter of fact, we need to do some content on TCU. So before the season started, when JR first came on, he came to me and said, hey, I want to get press credentials because I think TCU is going to have a big year. They're up the road. We went through the process, applied. We've got a picture of the denial letter somewhere. But just know, TCU, all the big media giants are on you now. I don't know if they were spooning you so much before the season started like JR was. Yeah. So let's see if we can get that press credential thing changed and updated. But if you lose this week, we don't need it, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
right?
no kidding. We're not bandwagoners, man. We reached out to you preseason. We thought this type of thing would happen with TCU. So, man, hit us up. We are local. We are right down the street. We would absolutely love to come over and do these games. It's really important, especially if we want to be big in Dallas. We want to be big in Texas first. That's the most important thing. But I love this matchup between TCU and Oklahoma State. I like that you're taking Oklahoma State here, but I also know with the second that you bet on Gundy, some things are going to happen. There's a lot of times where in clutch situations, it just doesn't pan out, especially last year where they had a real good shot, with going in that Big 12 game, that title game, losing to Baylor, choking it off at the end. That type of thing happens with Oklahoma State. So TCU I got TCU winning this football game. They had a very close game with a good Kansas team last week. So they're both undefeated teams right here in the conference, top of the top. Big 12's playing amazing football right now. I think they're the most entertaining conference for me to watch right now. But I'm also extremely biased. So, I'm going to take TCU here, but I think it's going to end up being a pretty high-scoring game.
Yeah, I think maybe I'll have to look and see what the over is. I get what you're saying about Gundy. I don't know at what point he hurt you, but he's hurt you at some point. And I've lost some bets on him as well. And I don't know if this is a fact or not, but it feels right when I say this that Gundy usually loses later in the season, right? When he's got the fans are frothing at the mouth, it's built up. Actually, I'm spitting now out in the air, but it feels like he loses later on, right? Where we really get a full head of steam. Let's lose in the Big 12 championship game. Let's do other things like that. I like Gundy, been a fan of his even before the I'm a 40-year-old man statement that, gets revisited every year. I like Gundy, but let's face it, the fact that Gundy is able to go on these runs when you look at the recruiting landscape of what's going on in 5 stars and Supreme 5-star and all these other things, like Oklahoma State's not getting those guys year in, year out, right? So they make do with what they have. So the fact that they go on these runs, they're allowed to break some hearts every now and then, because eventually the talent does catch up with you. And not that they're not talented, but we are in a grading society for sports, right? There's grades. There's 5A, 4A, 3 for a reason. And some teams do rear up and have big seasons with a bunch of 3 stars. But Bama has 5-star. They reload. Blake had a great point. Why are we talking, whoever's back there, it's the Bama way. We're going to go out and try to find a way to win.
Yeah,
that's like Oklahoma State. Where is that game? I'm going blank.
Yeah, it's over in Stillwater.
Stillwater.
Yeah, they've got and two, Oklahoma State. Like Mike, don't get me wrong, Mike Gundy, I really do like him. I've been disappointed every time that I've tried to push for him. And you're absolutely right. When it comes to recruits, they're not even the best school in the state with the most recruits. But that being said, I have no doubt that Oklahoma State's going to wax that ass this year over in Norman. Against the Sooners, but that's just who they are. That's their brand. They can do things, and I guess I'm very supportive for the Cowboys being really good. It's just every time I swear that I'm like, I hop on that train. I'm like, okay, because both my parents went to OU, so a part of me is always going to be like, let's root for OU for a while, but I've never been like, oh man, Boomer Sooner.
You're a hell of a son, JR. Look at this. Come on now. What's going on? You're not wearing OU stuff every day? I didn't realize they both were alum.
Well, yeah, they were both alum, but the problem is I have my own recruiting woes with Oklahoma and Josh Heupel, and that kind of, I think, in turn pushed me back a little bit with wanting to root for the Sooners as much as possible. I love the atmosphere. I love being around. I've worked a lot of odd jobs around that campus corner. But
so I don't know this story. We don't have to get super into it. Like, I'm not going to break it down, but I'm assuming, your parents went there. Your dad was a really, really good baseball player. So I'm assuming that did you feel pressure to go to OU, and then maybe they didn't reciprocate the love, which happens sometimes, right?
Yeah, I absolutely did. I thought for a little while, especially when I was like 14, 15 years old, like that was going to be a trajectory for me to stay in state one way or another. And I definitely thought it was going to be OU. I had Josh Heupel and a few other coaches come in and recruit me during that, and things happened and some stuff slipped through the cracks and some time was wasted. So yeah, just had to move on, and the rest.
So you're like, you know what? I know mom and dad are up the road, but better dust off those airline miles, baby, because I'm going to Hawaii.
Go Bows, baby. That was the only home for me.
Reiterate, for those that don't know, JR played Division I football at Hawaii. He's got his jersey hanging here in the backdrop.
Man,
it's a great studio. You want to flip over there and show his jersey, guys?
I think it might be a little too zoomed in.
Is it zoomed out?
What?
Yeah.
There it is.
It's
well, we'll get it in there next time. But anyway, Friday is Aloha Friday. He took it, he shoplifted it from there and brought it here, and we're turning this into Aloha Friday. And we're always going to embrace it because you're a big part of the team. We love it. You bring on guests.
Man, I wish Hawaii football right now would be super fun to talk about, but
we'd get a lot of mileage out of that. Right?
They are definitely struggling this year with that new, the new coaching change. I love Timmy Chang too, but we've got some things to work out. They're getting better, I think, every week. They played San Diego State this past week, and San Diego State's a pretty average team this year. Nothing special. They have been in the past pretty special, but. They're still trying to find their identity offensively. I still have some of my boys that are playing there right now, and I'm rooting for you guys. Just keep working on getting better every single week. We at the Sports Report, we'll try and get as much as we can, and keep updated with UH Sports. And so we're, that's something that's near and dear to my heart. And in turn, I hope that the viewers eventually, get a little rainbow fever,
Yeah, I remember you came to me this week and you're like, hey, I get that in the national landscape, they aren't one of the premier teams. They're not even, they're struggling. But I love Hawaii, and I'd like to talk about them when I can. Absolutely. Because I went there. And here's the great thing of being a new and a self-funded show, and me being able to, we can do whatever the hell we want, right? You want to talk about Hawaii? It's not going to piss all 5 of our current viewers off. Like, I'm actually intrigued by the Hawaii thing. What do you think, Travis? You want to hear about Hawaii if JR wants to talk about where he played college football?
Of course, dude, because think about it. Who else talks about Hawaii? I mean, a lot of people you don't really see it a lot. So, and we have somebody that played at
Who
Hawaii.
else talks about Hawaii?
Well, no, I agree with you, man. I agree with you. And I appreciate you guys like giving me a platform to do that. And I do think it is important too, because the thing that was so special about going to Hawaii was that there was no professional teams. It was just us. We were the team to support and root over these islands, and so we really felt that support and that love from an entire state. And it's just such a unique school too. Even on the road, you're going to find some crazy fans out there that just they've got their lays on, they got their Aloha shirts on, they're ready to rock, man.
With that being said, were the home games usually packed out?
Oh man, they didn't start getting packed back out until we started winning football games. When I first got there, we were getting blown out in conference games like by Air Force, 55-7 or whatever. And
what years were you there?
So I was there from 2015 through 2019, and that first year, the head coach was Norm Chow at the time, and we won like 3 games, zero conference games, and by the end of the year, it was so quiet in those stands, and we played at the Aloha Stadium, the Pro Bowl, and it would be so quiet you could hear one individual fan yelling, "Put in the backup quarterback," as loud. And
backup's mother?
No, it was some dude, and he would show up the next game and the next game. But yeah, man, it took a while for us to go and get those stands packed out, and now. They had when we started winning, we ended up going to 3 bowl games while we were there, trying to turn that program around. And by the end, I'll tell you what, the most packed out home games there would be is if we had Pac-12 opponents come in or BYU, man. Something about BYU.
BYU travels well, or your home fans would come to those games?
Oh, no. So we have a BYU Hawaii on Oahu where we're at, and they would travel very well. But also, you would just have locals here that are so invested. The Mormon community is pretty big over there in Hawaii as well. And, just the support for BYU and that rivalry. There is a rivalry between BYU and Hawaii. I mean, shoot, we beat Zach Wilson when he came and played us over at the Hawaii Bowl. So, that is a very competitive football game. We've also gotten waxed over in Utah, and that's just kind of how it goes.
Zach Wilson. You played against him.
Mm-hmm.
Did you anticipate that he was going to be a big time draft pick?
Absolutely not. No. And I love what he's doing now. He's winning football games, but at the time I had no clue. I didn't.
And that's a good answer. I mean, I don't think you're disparaging him. I'm sure there's a certain population of guys that when they hear Josh Allen's quarterback, they're like, "Oh, I played against him," and maybe his story. He wasn't recruited, and he ended up at Wyoming. So it's funny your take. Did he throw any touchdowns against you guys, or?
Oh yeah, no, he had a pretty decent game, but then when it came down to it, there was and this is pretty unfortunate. They were going to win that football game. They were up, and Zach Wilson ran around a zone of some sort or scrambled, and then and this is a goal line play. He reaches over the goal line with the football, midair dive, and we have 2 Hawaii defenders who just come over and smack him at the same time, right at the goal line. Ball comes loose, we get the football, we go down and score, we win that football game. And that's something that, I mean, it was the biggest play of the year for us. I mean, that was
a place went crazy.
Yeah, place went absolutely nuts. And that stadium was rocking for sure. And now they have a different stadium situation because the Aloha Stadium got condemned. And they have plans on rebuilding all that and years to come, which is going to take a long time because that's how the government over there works. And so they're playing now in Manoa at their actual, what used to be our practice field, which is Teaching. And it's a wild setup. It's not a permanent setup, but it's so cool to have. The Aloha Stadium was 45 minutes away from campus, so kids would have to shuttle or figure it out how to get there. Now there's no excuse for them not to be in the stands. We just got to continue to get better each week. So,
well, JR, let me ask you this: how was it playing Boise State? Did you ever play at Boise State Stadium, the Blue Stadium?
Yeah, the Smurf turf is what we call it, man, and I absolutely hated it. I hated it so much. They wear the same color jerseys. They have them specially made so that they match the turf exactly. And it's really difficult to see. And I just think it's tacky as shit. You're not going to see me compliment Boise State a whole bunch, but you know what? They had our names. So, kudos to them for winning some football games, especially against us. We had to play them. We lost 3 games one year, and twice it was to Boise State. One during the regular season and one in the Mountain West championship game. So, not a big fan of those guys whatsoever. No, not at all.
Yeah, they won a lot of games, back in the day when we were all first introduced to the blue turf and I thought it was cool. I was never on that. Like, it just distorted my TV. Absolutely. And I'm like, it was cool the first few times. Now it's hard to see. I know we have RJ Ochoa. Say again?
Said one of the greatest wins against Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah. No, and was that the Statue of Liberty one?
Yep.
Yeah.
Ian Johnson. Woo.
That actually is what I think introduced a lot of sports fans to Boise State. I watched that bowl game. I didn't start out watching it, but you get a text or a phone call from buddies saying, hey, this game's heating up over here, or turn it on, or whatever. I don't remember if I was even looking at Facebook back then. And then the guy proposed after. Boise State was the talk of the town and all that, unless you had to play them on that field, right? And you're like, yeah, screw this.
And what's crazy is I've done a whatever happened to video on him, and now he works for State Farm.
That's nice.
I saw that video. As a matter of fact, let's show that video on Monday's episode. And cool. We need to get that out there on break. A lot of your Where Are They Now videos are gold. Now we're doing origin stories here with the Sports Report. Glad to have you on with us, Travis, all the time. Like, you are a highly functioning part of the team.
Hey, I'm glad to be here, man. I love it.
Man, he's got a method to his madness, too. I see him in there cranking out those TikToks and those videos and stuff, and he's just got a whole formula. His whole rap sheet is just sitting there filled with notes and scripts, man. He doesn't play about that stuff.
Yeah, I looked over his shoulder when he was working on that one time, and it looked like the Diary of a Madman. I stepped away and said, don't look directly into those words that it might change my life. So I trust that he's doing what he needs to do. And, again, proud to have him here.
Thank you, man. Like I said before, I love it, man. I'm glad to be here.
Well, I think we're going to do some big things, especially with your content and what you bring to the table. While we're waiting on RJ Ochoa, friend of the show, to come on, we've been on hiatus due to technical difficulties, as we talked about. And I'm looking at some of the production notes that JR makes, and he always makes the best ones, and he prints them up for us. Let's go back to is just one. There's just two names typed here. Pat Mahomes, which is Patrick Mahomes, right? Remember his mom got mad and said, call him Patrick. Mm-hmm. And Travis Kelce. Is there a theory that the Chiefs are in trouble as far as they're one-dimensional? It doesn't feel like they have anyone outside of Kelce currently. Is Juju catching a bunch of touchdowns? I know Travis can probably look up the stats, but it felt to me, I think he had 3 touchdowns, Kelce, and 24 yards receiving, right?
What did Travis have? Did he have 4 or 3?
He had 4.
Yeah,
I'm saying the first 3
yeah.
that he had, I remember them saying he is the stat that showed up on whatever. He's got 24 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. The yardage doesn't matter. He's scoring. But if guys really hone on if the Bills hone in on Travis Kelce this week, which you figure they will, right? Is Von Miller going to be, spying on him and watching Kelce every step of the way? He's a focal point. Don't let Kelce beat us. Who steps up and fills that hole? Like, Tyreek Hill's gone. He's never coming back, theoretically. And they can say whatever they want in the game. They replaced him by committee. No team can replace the loss of speed like that guy, right? So, Travis, you usually have pretty good insight on this, and so does JR. If Kelce's shut down, who's going to step up and – because the Bills could go into Arrowhead on Sunday and throttle them, right? Or Mahomes continues to show that, hey, I'm still an elite quarterback, one of the best in the league. I mean, what's going to happen? What do you think?
MVS is going to have to stand up. He's going to have to stand, him and Juju. But to be honest, looking at it right now, the only main person who has a receiving touchdown is Travis Kelce. Juju has 0 and MVS has 0. They're going to have to step up if they want to win this game.
So Kelce's I don't know how many he had in the previous games. He had 4 the other night, which, by the way, I was competing against the guy who had him in fantasy football. The guy was going to win anyway, but that just literally pissed me off, rubbed salt in the wound. Juju has no touchdowns?
He has 0.
Let's go look at the stats here on this thing, and I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look at Kansas City right now while we're waiting on well, we're on the internet live, so we can basically take all the time we want, right?
Oh,
let's look at the stats.
Yep.
Here. Let's look at the stats. Receiving. I'm going to go across the touchdowns. It seems everybody's favorite tight end, Travis Kelce. I'm my favorite. Kelsey's awesome. He's you can't deny the fact his talent. But my favorite all time is obviously going to be Gronk.
Mm-hmm.
So Gronk. So
see, my thing is, I still have to go with Tony Gonzalez.
That's not a bad choice. I mean, there's the paperwork to prove it. Back that up, right? He's actually.
But it is starting to look like Travis Kelce is going to be that number 1 tight end of all time.
No, yeah, I can see that trajectory. But the other, why did I just go blank on what you just said?
Gronk?
No. Tony is obviously an elite tight end and has been. He's really morphing into a really good announcer too, an analyst. I like what he's doing. Back to these touchdowns. And again, I'm not just making this up to start, crapping on the Chiefs. I'm looking at what's their path to get to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Everybody and their brother is picking the Bills to win it all. That's why I'm like, it doesn't feel authentic when everyone's on them. Something's going to happen. So quickly, Kelce 7 touchdowns. Go all the way down to McCole Hardman 1 touchdown. Clyde Edwards-Helaire 3. Justin Watson 1. Jerick McKinnon 1. Fortson 2. The glaring misses in there are going to be Juju 0. Scantling's got 0. So I don't know what's going to happen. That was just something I thought about on the drive in this morning. I didn't get to do the production notes I wanted to do last night before our normal show because I usually do it in front of the Thursday night game. And when it was 3-0 at halftime and I had the over, I just said, I'll wing it tomorrow.
And it's an AFC showdown, man. This is a rematch of one of the biggest games of last year. And honestly, I'm more concerned about the Chiefs secondary right now than their offense. I mean, I think that's going to be a huge deciding factor of who's going to win this football game, man.
I like it. We're going to jump in here. Hang on just a second, Travis. I'm going to pull this Dallas up.
And one more thing, I don't know how this isn't a Monday night game. I really don't know why you still have Denver and the Chargers. Denver shouldn't even be in a primetime game ever again.
Yeah, the NFL should be able to go in and override that. I'm not trying to just crap on the Denver fans, but the product that they have put out and Russell has put out so far this year, man, it's been lackluster. We've talked about it. It's just not – something's got to get going, right?
Let me ask y'all this. Who is more of a bigger bust? Is it the Raiders or is it the Broncos?
I think based on the record and expectations and adding Devontae, to me, even when you take out what they paid Russell, I think it's the Raiders. The best receiver in football, arguably, correct, is there. They played college together. They've known each other. They got to do more. I mean, he had a good game the other night, but overall the Raiders is probably that pick. Are you telling me we have RJ ready to go? I'm gonna let Jake bring him in today. His normal thing.
Yes, sir. All right. Is he in here?
Is his audio on? I can't hear him. RJ?
How goes it? What's going on, brother? We got RJ Ochoa in here from Vlogging the Boys. What's going on, big dog? How we living?
Sorry I'm late. It's been a hectic Friday morning. Lots going on. The dog was barking. It's a little bit of chaos, but it's Friday.
You're good. Happy Aloha Friday, man. It's big time, man. That's awesome. It seems like you got the Astros jersey on. You're just living life right now.
It's a good time. Apparently, there are some Mariners fans that want to throw a parade for being a playoff team. So good for y'all, I guess.
That's awesome. Well, they can get a cookie later or something.
Well, hey, if the Kansas fans storm the field after every home game win, right, during the regular season, the Mariners can throw a parade. I suspect it looks like you got a really clean, tight haircut going on. That's where you were, right? Getting the haircut?
Yeah, I did get it cut earlier this week. I don't do anything fancy with my hair like you, dude. I mean, I don't have that much to work with. I like it, I like it to be, low maintenance. And I like to feel cool when I lay down on the pillow. So I'm feeling lighter. I mean, it's a few ounces off the top.
I have thick hair, and I've often been told by buddies like, "Hey, don't put your hair up because your forehead you could land a helicopter on there." But I can't have the bangs touching my forehead, so hence I throw some product in it and push it up. We're just sitting here talking, pivoting away from the Cowboys. Like, should the Chiefs and Bills game be on Monday night instead of Sunday afternoon at 3:00?
I heard y'all talking about that. I think that ESPN is actually going to have Monday Night Flex capabilities in the future. I don't know when that comes into play, but that will be a thing at some point. But yeah, I mean, this sucks. I mean, I'm happy. Like, given when the Cowboys play impacts my life a lot, obviously, and so I'm grateful that they don't interfere with this Bills Chiefs game. And so I also I hate missing something. Like, I want to devote all my time to the Bills Chiefs game, but there are other afternoon games on. And so I can't just hang out with Scott Hansen on the Red Zone channel. But I'm totally with you. If I could, I'd swap it out. Nobody wants to watch Denver again on Monday night. Plus, that's so unfair that you get to wait from Thursday night until Monday night. That's a massive buy. I think, and the Chargers are coming off of a Sunday game. That's a massive rest disadvantage the Chargers are up against.
Yeah. And I'm curious. I want to see, the QB, I picked him to be my MVP before the season, and things haven't gone well for the Chargers. I know he's been hurt a little bit, but I think they get after him. But yeah, I agree. I think we've been overexposed to Russell Wilson in some of these games, and I feel bad. Amazon, I don't want to talk negatively about the mothership over there, but JR, we've discussed it. They've just had some real duds, and it works out to they're paying about $78 million a game, and obviously it's not worrying Bezos. As a fan, though, that's one of the first games I cut off at halftime, and I never went back to the TV. That's very rare for me.
My wife and I, we've been loving the new Rings of Power show on Amazon. So yeah, that's the only good part about this year on Amazon is what they're delivering there. But I will say it is always nice to have something that everyone can universally hate or love. So these games suck, but at least Twitter is just in complete and total agreement that we're getting ripped off here. This is unfortunate, but yeah, thankfully the Cowboys aren't on Thursday night until way late in the season. They don't have to deal with this.
Yeah, I think there'll be a better product out by then. It's Friday. I know you've got a lot going on, and we're glad that you always give us your time and join us. Any changes or anything going on that's different this week about the Cowboys? Any news coming out? Are there any players that are in, that are out, or we're still waiting on some game time decisions? Obviously, Dak's not going to play this week.
I don't know that I don't think he's going to play, to be very clear, but I would say I'm only 99% certain that he's not going to play. I think it's worth mentioning in Cooper Rush's first start last year against Minnesota, they kept that secret close to the vest until Sunday morning when all the national, insiders did their morning hits. And so I don't think we're in for some sort of rug getting pulled out from under us. Whoa, check it out, Dak's actually going to start. I don't think that's happening, but I'm not ready to say it's 100% not happening. At the very least, I know that's kind of riding the fence, but I think the biggest surprise might be Jason Peters if he plays. It sounds like he's going to. So I mean, but for the most part, it's pretty chalk. I think the way it's gone all week long.
Yeah, Peters playing would be interesting. He had a pretty interesting soundbite this week about the Philly fans, and then. Kelsey struck back and basically said they're the best fans. They're not commercialized like the Rams and other teams. I hope he plays. And you're right. I mean, I feel that Cooper's playing, but you never know. I can only imagine what Dak feels like right now. The roles are inverted for him from back in the Romo situation. It's just amazing to me, JR. We won when our quarterback has barely 100 yards passing, which I want to claim, Travis, that our quarterback outgained your quarterback Wentz by a few yards. So we had that going for us. What a horrible game last night. But what do you feel? Are we going to win this week, RJ? I mean, for real. I mean, how do we go in and win this game?
I mean, Probably not. I mean, but they've probably not been supposed to win all of these games, right? Like they're doing something weird. Like, have you ever, like, those like visual puzzles or whatever where you have to like lose focus to focus? You know what I'm saying? Like if you actually like focus your vision, you can't see the horse or whatever that's in the maze.
Totally.
That's kind of how they're playing. Like they're sort of living in the chaos. And I mean, I don't think it's impossible the way I thought it was a month ago. I mean, they've proven that. They've earned that benefit of the doubt. This is the best team they're going to have played in this stretch. This is the best quarterback, best offensive line, best defense. It's on the road. They're, depends where you look, but 5.5, 6.5 point dogs. I mean, like, all of the reason is there to think that they're not going to win in any way, shape, or form. But on the flip side of that, like after the week 1 loss to Tampa, like there was people act like, oh no, this was going to happen all along. No, like the season was over. It really was after week 1, and they pulled themselves out. I mean, they deserve all the credit in the world for that. And so if they can do that, then I think that I'm willing to trust them to do that now. I didn't come this far to not pick them. You know what I mean? Like I'm fine kind of, going down with this ship if that's what it takes. But if they win, I think I don't think we get some like, unlikely Cooper Rush performance. I don't think Cooper throws for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. Like it will be the same thing. It will take the same sort of recipe, not making any mistakes, superstar performance on defense, maybe whether it's a defensive score or some sort of turnover that happens, on the Eagles side of the field. It will take some sort of cutting of a corner like that for Dallas to come out on top. They won't win comfortably, I don't think. I mean, it will be very tense and very stressful, but it's definitely possible.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll be a close game. I think the Cowboys can pull it out based off defense alone. We don't need Cooper to come out, and I think you agree with it. We don't need Cooper to come out and have a all-world performance. He threw for 100 yards last week in the defense scores initially right out of the gate, and then it felt like the Rams were completely out of it later on, right? I mean, so it's interesting that I hear the other media talking about, oh, the Cowboys haven't played anybody. They're not going to do this. For the record, we beat the 2 teams that were in the Super Bowl this year. I realize that was last year, but they still have the majority of those players. We beat them. We're not scoring a lot of points. That's why I'm a Dak guy. I've never hidden the fact I'm a Dak guy. The most important thing to me, RJ, when he comes back, they got to keep running the damn ball. We can't have him throwing 70% of the plays. Run the ball. It's proven that we run the ball, we get 100 yards, we win the majority of these games. And I know before you go, I believe Travis and Jake both had questions for you if you want to hang around another minute or two. JR, fire away.
Yeah, man, with the loaded – ironically this year, like the NFC East is pretty damn good. We've got 3 teams now that are 4-1 or better. And the Cowboys are finding ways to win. And I don't think Cooper, like you were saying, I don't think Cooper Rush is playing out of his mind. I think he's doing exactly what he's asked to do as a backup quarterback. And I think what it's going to come down to, and correct me if I'm wrong here, what Cowboys defense versus the Eagles offense and having those matchups against the offense and defensive lines. You've got Parsons, you've got Lane Johnson, and both teams are honestly to the injury reports. Both of them are having, no one's 100%. Obviously, we're now in a further along down in the season. So, what do you think? Do you think that that's really where the game's going to get made with what's going to dictate the score here? Is the Eagles offense and the Cowboys defense?
So my dog wanted to be on, obviously. His name is Bear, so it's a really sad morning for him, given what happened last night. So the way I would answer that is I think the game will be won for Dallas on defense, but it can be lost on offense, and not like in the obvious way. Like what Cooper's done that is commendable is he hasn't turned the ball over, as you mentioned, but like all it takes is he had 2 near interceptions against the Commanders. He put the ball on the ground twice against the Rams, and Dallas was fortunate to recover both of them. But I mean, you're talking some sort of strip sack fumble, some sort of interception and a return that gives the ball to the Eagles at, midfield or the Dallas 30. I mean, the Commanders and Rams both had possessions that started in Dallas territory, and neither of them got points on them. Now, that sounds like, the defense did a great job. I mean, the Commanders did go 4 and out or turn the ball over on downs, rather. The Rams missed a field goal, right? So you can't do that. Like you just cannot. You have to survive. You literally have to survive and just go up there and take pitches. You know what I mean? Like you can't swing on the first pitch and lose this thing. That's really where Cooper Rush, I think, has to make his money on Sunday night. Because if the Eagles offense is incredibly talented, and if you give them a short field to work with, you're making your job all the more difficult. You're putting the defense further behind the 8 ball.
Oh, yeah, I agree. We've definitely got to have some solution here for Jalen Hurts. Absolutely. Travis, you got something, brother?
I think the only thing I got for you, RJ, what is it going to take the Cowboys to win this game? Because, of course, the Eagles, with the only undefeated record left, they are technically the best team in the NFL. What's it going to take the Cowboys to win this game?
I mean, I think it takes – this is super cliche and super lame. I think it just takes kind of being who they've been, right? Like be this great defense and this offense that just hangs on. The Eagles are, I wouldn't say like ripe for a loss, but you can make a huge argument that they should have lost last week. I'm in no way a believer in the Cardinals. I mean, they're some of the biggest frauds in the NFL. And it took a late game collapse by them to set themselves up in a field goal position with a kicker that's brand new on their team, missing a game-tying field goal for Philadelphia to walk out of there with a win. And look, a win is a win is a win. Nobody's like upset about winning. I'm sure you're not upset about the Commanders winning last night.
Oh, definitely not.
Right. And so, but there are flaws there. Like this is not the Eagles. You guys were talking Monday Night Football. When the Eagles, I'm a big believer in the Vikings this year. When the Eagles destroyed the Vikings on Monday Night Football, that felt like, oh crap, like, this is a monster of a team. And, an NFL season is a long thing. And so there are highs and lows and waves and rides that you have to endure. And it does feel like the Eagles are a little bit lower. This feels like the weakest version or the least impenetrable version of the Eagles that we've seen this year. And so, the Cowboys have been able to, catch lightning in a bottle every single week. That's impossible, but they've done it. So like it will take doing the impossible again. But if anybody's kind of good at doing that right now, it's them.
Oh, for sure. And see, of course, me being a Commanders fan, I definitely didn't think Dallas would be doing this.
You're not alone.
You're not alone. Sure. We're all shocked. People. We've posted some content. Travis made a really good video about Cooper Rush. And it resonated with a lot of people at 50,000 views. But a lot of people were on there saying he's not scoring or whatever. That's beautiful to me that he's not scoring and we're still winning because we know that Dak is capable of scoring it. But we got to keep running the ball. But talking about the Eagles, and I don't like crapping on other teams because I'm a Cowboy guy, but they've caught lightning in a bottle as well, right? 2 weeks in a row. They were down, was it 14-0 to Jacksonville? And Jacksonville squandered that, which is, that's kind of what they do over there. And then they should have won that game to me last week. And I'm not trying to pile on Kyler. JR always feels like I do, but I heard it in the national media this week. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, a few other guys would have ensured they had that first down no matter what, right? You clock it. It was ineptitude, I think, that let the Eagles win that game. They are ripe to get beat, which conversely, so are we.
And I think that, you could argue the most underrated person in that sense is in this game is Mike McCarthy. I mean, like we could sit here, look, Kyler stinks in a lot of ways, but like he's 500 times the quarterback that Cooper Rush is. Again, all due respect to Cooper Rush. But I don't, people, like I said right now, right? Like the Cowboys haven't faced an offense this good, a quarterback, offensive line, defense, whatever. I don't think the Eagles have faced a coach this good. Like, I mean, not enough people give Mike McCarthy his flowers, his credit, his due. And this is a dude who, again, understands that you have to like take your vision back to see the horse or whatever it is. He's somebody who's aggressive. He's somebody who's willing to trust his backup quarterback. I mean, this is a duel between Mike McCarthy and Nick Sirianni. And people think that Nick Sirianni is great because, the Eagles are 5-0 and they deserve a lot of credit for that. But, I mean, the best head coach in this game is Mike McCarthy, no matter what the internet's going to tell you. He is incredible and deserves a lot of credit.
I agree. You and I were both pretty critical of him after the last game last year, which we had a right to be. That was dysfunctional, looked horrible. I thought it was more McCarthy than players. But how much do you think he thinks about that on the daily or the weekly? Is that probably one of the biggest single motivators for him? Is how it ended last year?
I mean, yeah, no. I mean, like you can argue that that's like helpful and maybe dwelling on something's not always the best thing, but something I've said since I was a kid, and I'm not saying like I was a genius as a kid, but like I've always thought like if you can get 53 guys to believe the sky is orange, then the sky is orange, right? Like if everyone in that room believes it, then it's true, right? Like no matter what the world tells you, if you believe it, then it's true. It's the George Costanza, it's not a lie if you believe it bit. And I think that Mike McCarthy, he's not as like visibly charming as a lot of other head coaches, but he's quietly a pretty charming dude. Like you listen to him talk, you hang out around him. He's got a lot of charisma. And so people made a big deal about the watermelon smashing or the monkey butt last year and last week, everybody was falling all over the quote about underdogs. Like he's kind of good at that. Like he's kind of good at identifying with players. He's a blue collar guy. If I don't walk around a lot of alleys late at night, but if I did, I would want Mike McCarthy with me. Like he's a dude who's unafraid to roll up his sleeves, get in and do the dirty work. And I think that his team really respects him for that and kind of falls in line behind him for that. He's not a guy who's out here needing the credit. Everybody wants to give it to Dan Quinn or whoever, whatever else. Mike McCarthy's just kind of this silent assassin.
I like him. I told several of the guys, maybe the guys in here, you nailed it on. I believe he's behind the scenes is very probably low-key funny and has the room in stitches a lot. I don't think he's forcing that. I think he innately is probably a funny guy. That quote about the underdog was pretty funny. I thought to myself when I heard it, God, please don't have to eat those words. But I like him. I was critical of him, but you know what? We can't win and be awesome every year. Every team can't unless you're the Patriots of old, right? These guys have to form what I call calluses. You got to go through and do stupid stuff like lose a game at the end because you ran out of time. It makes you better. It's frustrating, but we've got to start winning. We can't keep saying every year, oh, it's, next year it's our year. Dak was hurt. We're built to win with that defense now, JR. Mm-hmm. They're loaded. I think we have the best player in the NFL all around, Parsons. I know that's jaded and biased, but look at his body, his composition, and how fast he runs and what he does. And I believe Travis had the stats. We have two of the top 5 or 2 of the top 10 guys in stats on our defense. We're the only team that has that. So I feel like great offensive line or not, they will get after Jalen a little bit this week. We're going to get 2 or 3 sacks. We're going to have to win the game.
I mean, yeah, like it's a prerequisite.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, if those things don't happen, they probably won't win, and that's okay. Like, I think that I'm totally with you. Like, they've got to win games, and there's no more like excuse making and things like that. They bought a lot of time, and this game is massive. This game is big. This game has a lot of consequences for the division and the conference and all sorts of things. But they've got house money. Like they're good. They're like when you're on Amazing Race and you win all of the legs and you win all these trips and vacations and stuff for like the future. Like they've already put a lot in the bank, and so they're not going to win 16 games. They're not going to go 16-1. Like reality is going to come for them. Reality is going to come for the Eagles at some point. But I think it's important to measure expectation with reality, and the Cowboys are playing above expectation right now, and they deserve again a lot of credit for that. But it's the sky will not end if they lose. There's a lot of reason to believe in this team on Sunday night with a backup quarterback. When Dak Prescott comes back, they're all the more great. They're all the more destructive in their own right.
Yeah, and look at the schedule looking forward, because obviously Dak is a constant topic, JR.
Yep.
And the next 2 games that we have, if he's not ready to go, don't bring him back too early. Mm-hmm. And that's cliched and easy to say, but we have to say these things because that's the current environment we live in. But if you look at the schedule, regardless of what happens this week, next Sunday we're playing Detroit and we're playing Chicago. Both those games are home. RJ, are your feelings going to be hurt if Dak doesn't play against Detroit and we can hold him off till Chicago? Or even crazily enough, we have a bye week after Chicago and then we have Green Bay back home. I don't care if he comes back and plays in the next few games. I want Dak to be able to grip the ball and throw it. And so I don't care when he comes back. When he comes back, he's the guy, right? No matter what.
Yeah, I mean, this idea of any sort of controversy is silly. I mean, at first it seemed like he was going to be out through the bye week. And, on our shows and things, I said, look, if they win 2 games, between now and then, let's be happy. I mean, they've doubled that already. I mean, and so I'm done trying to come up with things. I'm done trying to predict this team. Like they're that, they're that weird and erratic. And so they're kind of an unpredictable team. And that's a really dangerous thing. That's cliche, right? Like, that's kind of just general NFL sports trope, but they're unpredictable. When you count them out, I mean, I would watch out. I mean, they're 6.5-point dogs, again, depending on where you look, but early lines for next week have them as 7-point favorites against the Lions. I mean, so like, how can you, you can't swing that radically back and forth one week to the next and tell me that you're a predictable team.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, crazy things happen in the NFL. I mean, who would have thought the Eagles would have won with Nick Foles back in the day, right? I mean, things happen. We got to continue playing well. I look at our schedule beyond that. I feel pretty good about it. Making the playoffs to me is a fairly done deal, but we're still early enough in the season where if Philly loses, you can bet on ESPN on Monday, Philly sucks. They're overrated. The Cowboys came in with a backup and beat them. In the same way with the Cowboys, they need to get Dak back ASAP. You know how it goes. You've been following these guys for a long time. You're the go-to expert for us. And when you say, man, let's just ride this thing and see what happens, I guess that's it. I can't tell you if I honestly feel that we're going to win this week. I don't know. But it may not matter, JR. I mean, we lose.
Yeah.
Build up a callus. Dak comes back and we run the table.
Absolutely.
Crazier things have happened.
Well, RJ, let me ask you this. So you have Mike McCarthy that's getting a lot of credit right now, and you have Dan Quinn also. What about Kellen Moore? Kellen Moore's had to change so much with going from a Dak to a backup quarterback.
I mean, I think there's enough credit to go around, certainly. I would probably give Kellen the least. But you're right. I mean, he doesn't have Micah Parsons, or the equivalent to work with the way Dan Quinn does. And so it's difficult. But my biggest hope from this whole stretch until Dak comes back is that Kellen has learned, like, dude, I mean, play the hits, right? Like, if the four of us went and watched the Eagles in concert, like, play Hotel California. Like, we don't want to hear this new crap. You know what I mean? Like, play the hits, do the stuff that works. Like, you don't have to come up with this new razzle dazzle stuff. I mean, it was like the third play of the season that they had this crazy triple reverse thing. Like, no, dude, just, and I'm not saying like run the ball or whatever, but like, you don't have to there's no style points here. Like, wins are wins. And so move the ball. First downs are first downs. Touchdowns are touchdowns. Like, we don't care how they happen. And I hope that, in the process of simplifying things, he's just kind of learned that he was maybe trying a little bit too hard, and that's not necessarily necessary all the time.
Yeah, it's okay to play small ball.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they as long as you get that, right? Like, I mean, it all counts the same. 6 points are 6 points.
Yeah, I've heard that same take, JR, and a few other people. Like, you do not have to be so artistic and overwhelm people with your fancy play calling. You just need to move the ball down the field, and you need to score, and you need your playmakers, obviously, to do it. It's triple reverses. Well, there's no need. There's no need at all. One of the keys to victory this week, and we'll let RJ go, obviously, to me, a couple sacks, and CD. We need CD to have 0 drops. We need him to catch. And these things are all common sense, but it seems like we talk about it every other week at least. There's a significant drop or a couple drops. It didn't matter if it was Dak back there or Rush. We have got to be better catchers of the ball. We cannot be an elite team marching down the field or dropping the ball. And that's common sense, but I know it probably it pesters you too. Like, it's kind of a, I don't know, the 800-pound elephant in the room. It's talked about, but then it's not really talked about. Like, what's up with the dropsies?
I mean, it's, that's one of the Cowboys banked on CD becoming this alpha this year, and it hasn't been totally necessary yet, but they've been wrong so far. I love CD, but he hasn't been that guy, consistently this season. And he had a big time drop last week. Michael Gallup had a big time drop. Obviously, CD had the drop on Monday Night Football that everybody saw. And that's where, like, you can't just rely on Michael Gallup having a crazy out of bounds, catch to convert a third down every single week. Like, at some point you have to take the low-hanging fruit, right? At some point, the under will hit. You can't just take overs and overs and overs every single time in every single game, whatever. So you have to be, rational about those things. I agree with you. I mean, it's unfair to say, like, oh, CD can't have a drop or the Cowboys are going to lose this game, but, like, he's got to play incredibly well. I mean, the offense obviously isn't going to light anybody on fire or set any kind of records, but they're going to have to be functional. They're going to have to, they can't win every single game scoring one offensive touchdown. It just isn't sustainable in all likelihood. Maybe it happens. Obviously, nothing's impossible, but they're going to have to get a superstar performance from him some way down, whether it's with Cooper Rush, Dak Prescott, Ben DiNucci winds up playing, who knows? But they're going to need that to happen. And I think we're all hopeful that CD can be that guy, but it just hasn't happened week to week yet this season.
Yeah, I've always been a CD guy, and we wouldn't be talking about it. The drops here and there, it could be innocuous, but when you start building up a body of work that you drop, it's in your psyche, and it probably makes you drop more. Back to the over thing. I wish you would have texted me that analogy last night before I bet the over in the Redskins. It was 38. It was only 38.
Yeah, that's
obviously
big mistake.
Yeah. Thanks for telling me beforehand. I want to cut him loose, man. He's got stuff going Friday. JR, did you want to close him out? You got something for him?
Yeah, RJ, I loved what you said about I think it's funny. I think I would like to now refer to you as a big locker room guy, because I think one of the biggest takeaways is when 53 men all say that the sky is orange, the sky is orange. That's amazing, man. And I truly think that is what happens in that locker room, everybody buying in, that dictates wins or losses, even at the professional level, and that was awesome. That was a great takeaway, man. And I always just love having you on, bro. Like, thank you so much. Just keep doing you.
Appreciate it. No, anytime. I think thanks a lot for having me. Hopefully the sky in Seattle is orange tomorrow with Jordan, now Tuve and everybody going off. And then hopefully Sunday the Cowboys, find a way to get it done. Let's hope for a great sports weekend overall.
That's awesome, man. Well, we got RJ Ochoa, Blogging the Boys. Thank you so much for coming on, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks guys. Y'all have a great weekend.
We'll see you Monday.
Oh, man, such a good guest.
Yeah, I love RJ. He's been following the Cowboys, obviously, for a long time. He articulates things better. We ask him cliched questions all the time. But we have to, right? We want to hear it when Hungary spill. I'm a Cowboys fan. I can't hide it, right? It's no secret. Run the ball. Can we win with Cooper Rush? We don't know. There's a Dallas skyline. Do you expect us to talk about anything other than mainly the Cowboys here? Travis is part of the team. Let him talk about the Commanders. But RJ, make no mistake, is a vital, vital part of the show. How he's not more of a nationally brought in guest, I'm shocked. And RJ's not afraid to hurt feelings on the Cowboys. He was very critical of some of the people, and rightfully so. So I like the fact that, man, he tells it like it is. He still has access to the team. RJ, big fan of RJ. He's usually on Monday and Fridays, and we can't say enough about him.
You got that shirt behind you I'm peeping at right there. What's that going on? That's not the typical Sports Report merch.
It's not. So you guys want to come in on this. So Mr. Overshown, linebacker for UT.
There go that man.
We follow each other on Facebook, and I believe his mother tagged him in this. They were selling these shirts, right? And if Mama, and I believe it's his sister, I believe, are selling these shirts. I think they're about $30-35 a piece. Man, feel how durable that is. Look at that cotton. Crazy. Cotton crazy. I bought these for about $30 a piece. They showed up the next day. I can provide the link on our Twitter to what this is. I love this guy. This guy's had a pretty big. There's a special things happening in Austin. I know they dropped a couple. Bama and Texas Tech, but Agent Zero's playing his butt off. I know he wants to make his way into the NFL. He's been around Texas a while. He was able to stay an extra year. A lot of preseason accolades were thrown his way, and his mom and sister were cool. Man, I was messaging them. I asked them to come on today and pitch their wares. They couldn't make it on. Maybe next time. JR, we do this show very sporadically.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, growing pains, man. We're a startup.
Technical
We're
issues.
getting right. Yeah, technical issues. Everyone got them.
And I've had numerous people come in here that I respect that are media related. They look at me and they look at the studio and they say, look, you guys are set up for success. We got to be more entertaining. We like the fact that we bring guests on. I think it's good. Are you and I going to win an Emmy? Probably not.
Not
but
yet.
Even the most successful shows, and we're big fans of Pat McAfee, he's got his haters, right? You suck. And we have that. We're just not going to answer comments. But please share this video. It's live. Man, if you've never went live before and you want to come in and do better than us, and you know me, send me a text, man. We'll let you come in here, right?
Try it out, big dog.
Try it out.
Hey, you can try.
Yeah. And you can have the internal counter in your head where you're like, how many times have I said
fillers? Yeah, no, it's hard.
It's rough.
Hard, yeah.
It's Friday. Again, big games we're talking about, college and NFL. We've already been over those. Trying not to talk with my hands so much. It's not working. My final thought as we head into the weekend is I'll be helping feed and water my daughter's new horse in the morning she got for her birthday. I'll be watching some.
What's that horse's name, man?
Batman. His name is Batman. And I'll be watching some college on Saturday in and out sporadically. I'm going to try to catch those big games. But I told my wife already I will be glued to the TV all day Sunday because there's a lot of banger games and morning games, afternoon game, then, of course, the Cowboys. I won't be around Sunday to do stuff. I said I'll be out in the man cave. And she looked at me and she said, so that's not new, right? I mean, why are you telling me? Well played, Tara. But yeah, she lets me do my thing on the football day. So, what are your thoughts in the going into the weekend, JR? And then let's let Travis close it out.
For sure. Honestly, I'm really excited that Quinn Ewers is back. I want to see him first thing 11 a.m. Against Iowa State. I think that he's just doing some things that make me start to remember Colt McCoy. And I hate saying something like that because Colt McCoy is his own entity and so is Quinn. But damn, it's exciting to watch him get in there. So I'm excited to see him fling that around. I want to see, that Oklahoma State and TCU game. Definitely going to be catching up with some Hawaii football. They're playing Nevada this weekend. And then, moving on to Sunday, man. Huge, massive games. It's going to be a lot of fun, but, it's not going to be fun moving a bunch of shit up and down some stairs. So, Travis, what you got, brother?
I've been here for a week nonstop since Sunday, so I get to go see my family, which is pretty nice. I got my 3 boys and my wife. I can't wait, actually. So I've been looking forward to that. Other than that, just going to be watching college football. I got the Gator Nation on Saturday. So I get to watch that, and then I get to prop my feet up Sunday, and I get to watch. I don't have to stress about the Redskins. Sorry, Commanders. So we already got our W for the weekend. My week's set.
Enjoy that. Enjoy this win. It probably will be a minute before you get another one.
Trust me, I already went through 3 weeks of losing, so this just made my whole month.
I just don't want to see you on that roller coaster of emotion, right? I don't want to see you go back to the abyss right now. But I'm happy for you. I don't want them to win too many. I don't want them to sneak up the NFC East. Travis, Chiefs or Bills? Call it. Who wins that game?
Oh, I'm going Bills all day. I think that they get that revenge from last year. They are hungry. They are the best team, in my opinion, in the league. So, I'm going to have to take Bills. I think it's going to be I think the Bills are going to be a high-scoring game. I don't think the Chiefs' defense can stop that Bills offense. And the Bills' defense, I think, will be able to stop the Chiefs. So, my projection will have to be 38-17 Bills.
38-17 Bills. Man, that's going way opposite what I'm saying, and we'll get off here. We've been on a while. I'm not saying that I'm overwhelmingly certain that the Bills are going to lose, right? But you're in the house that Mahomes built, right? And he just tossed 4 touchdowns to his number one weapon and probably, if he's smart, his best friend in the whole world.
No, yeah.
I got to see the Chiefs come in there and I've got to see the Bills will have to prove that they can come in to his house and beat them. I'm going Chiefs, maybe by 3, maybe by a touchdown.
I like that.
Home field advantage is no joke, even though they struggled recently.
We don't forget what happened last year. We don't forget what happened last year. I still got Bills winning this game, but it's going to be very tight.
There you go. You heard it here, guys. It's Friday. Be safe this weekend. Anthony. We get Anthony in on the shot over there, lean back. Our technical consultant. Without you, we are mere mortals.
Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you, Anthony.
We appreciate you so very much. Happy Aloha Friday, everybody.
Have a great weekend.